Ildo came to the hospital to visit Dongju, then followed by Unnam and sister Agnes, also came. But they did not meet Dongju, because he had been kidnapped. They looked for a way to find Dongju, without involving the police, and according to Ildo, it would be faster if they asked for help from Unnam's in-law, Mr. Yeom. And they had to keep this a secret from Chairman Cha, because lately his condition was not good, he should not be shaken. Dongju was held in a place, there he was asked by someone through a loudspeaker, whether money was more important than his life. Dongju also told them to bring his boss there. The person who said Dongju knew the password, he would say clearly that he did not know at all. And Dongju wanted to fight, but they knocked Dongju down and beat him. Then Mr. Yeom got a call from the person who took care of Dongju. Mr. Yeom thought it would only take half a day, but it turned out to be longer. The man felt that Dongju was not acting, he really lost his memory, and if he could not be thrown away, then Mr. Yeom must accept him back. Mr. Yeom thinks Dongju must stay alive, even though Mr. Yeom doesn't want it, because Mr. Yeom only needs what's in his head. They torture Dongju again to get him to say the password, but when he drowns, Dongju doesn't move anymore. They are confused and panic, and when they try to electrocute Dongju, he suddenly wakes up and attacks them. After finishing off the two people, Dongju sees a chair and a mic. Suddenly the man who called Mr. Yeom strangles Dongju using a chain. Dongju is almost out of breath until Ildo comes and hits the man until he faints. Ildo takes Dongju to the hospital. But when he arrives in front of the hospital, Dongju wants to go to Chairman Cha's house because he wants to talk to Chairman Cha. And when he arrives at Chairman Cha's house, Dongju is hugged by Mr. Yeom and he tells Chairman Cha that Ildo has saved him. Chairman Cha just found out that the kidnappers wanted the password for Mr. Yeom's Swiss account. Dongju thinks they are very persistent, to the point that he started to think maybe he knew the password, but couldn't remember it. But Mr. Yeom felt that it was impossible. How could he tell Dongju such an important thing? Chairman Cha also thanked Mr. Yeom for saving Dongju, but Mr. Yeom thought that the one who saved him was Ildo, while he only gave a little information. Then Chairman Cha planned to report it to the prosecutor's office and let the law enforcers handle it. He would ask his acquaintance at the prosecutor's office to take care of it. But Ildo thought that the prosecutor's office wouldn't be able to handle this. The things that happened to Dongju were not simple. Because when he saved him earlier, Ildo saw a gunshot wound in his stomach. Someone must have shot him to kill him. Then Dongju showed the gunshot wound to Chairman Cha. Seeing that, Chairman Cha was very angry. He still wanted to contact the prosecutor's office, but Dongju didn't want to undergo an investigation, because maybe the person who was targeting the slush funds could be a law enforcer. Currently, Dongju suspects everyone, so wait until his memory returns, or at least until he remembers who tried to kill him. They also discussed when Dongju lost her childhood memory, but Dongju didn't remember it. And they found out from Dongju's older sister. Then Secretary Gong came in with tea. He handed it to Song Hyen. Hearing her call Dongju by the name Song Hyen, Dongju asked her to call him Dongju from now on. Although it was unfamiliar, he felt that he needed that name more than Song Hyen. And from now on, Dongju would live in that house, because Chairman Cha didn't want anything to happen to Dongju again, so he asked Secretary Gong to prepare a room for Dongju. Mr. Yeom felt that Ildo was amazing, because he could act well in front of them. But provoking Dongju like that might bring up his memory. Ildo was sure that if Dongju remembered the Swiss account password, his name would have been mentioned by Dongju too. Maybe Ildo had to kill Dongju again, so that the fact that he shot Dongju would be buried forever. But Mr. Yeom wouldn't let that happen, because Dongju's head was worth 2 trillion won. Then Ildo asked for half of the Swiss account. He asked for 1 trillion won. Ildo knows very well the reason why Mr. Yeom can't tell Chairman Cho, because he's afraid that Chairman Cho will touch the 2 trillion won on Dongju's head. Mr. Yeom could lose everything, so it's better to give up half of it. Hearing that, Mr. Yeom thinks that Ildo is a crazy bastard who really goes too far. Mr. Yeom will only give him 10%. But Ildo asks Mr. Yeom to understand how hard he tried to restrain himself from killing Dongju again. Secretary Gong goes to Dongju's room with his bag and food to restore his stamina. This is the first time coming here. Most people don't like the taste, but he follows Chairman Cho and drinks it. Then Dongju drinks it and he doesn't like the taste. He's not sure he ever liked it. Dongju asks if when Secretary Gong dropped the cake, because the name Song Hyen surprised her. Secretary Gong denies it and she feels that she's just tired after preparing the banquet. But Dongju knows that Secretary Gong deliberately called him Song Hyen to pretend not to be surprised to hear his name. Secretary Gong feels that maybe because he's amnesiac, Dongju becomes sensitive to everything around him. Then Dongju tells her that he had a car accident. When he thought he was going to die, someone called him Song Hyen. Even in a dream, Dongju knows that person called him Song Hyen. Dongju thinks maybe that's his name when he was little. It's clear that Dongju saw Secretary Gong react after hearing his name, and maybe Secretary Gong has a reason to deny it. Hearing that, Secretary Gong becomes more nervous. She asks permission to leave, and when she's outside of his room, she calls the name Cho Dukui. Dongju wears the bar that Ildo usually wears. He feels like he has practiced using the bar before. But Ildo explains that Dongju has never done that before. Then Dongju wants to discuss something with Ildo. Suddenly Dongju asks if Ildo shot him to kill him. Dongju just wants to know the facts, because some fragments of his past memories keep telling him that Ildo shot him. Ildo explains that they used to hate each other and Ildo was very upset and jealous of Dongju. Seeing how Ildo treats Dongju, it is impossible for Dongju to like him. The memory of lifting the wrong body, just like that mistake, maybe Dongju was so desperate to remember who the shooter was, that he finally remembered Ildo. Although Dongju got the memory very clearly, he didn't mind it and thought that he just remembered it wrong. Ildo took Dongju to Dr. Kang's house, because Ildo needed her help. It turned out that Dongju did hypnotherapy assisted by Dr. Kang, that Dongju is invited to remember Dongju's past. And he tells Dr. Kang that he was in the car and it was not clear who he was with. He only saw a little girl holding a doll sitting in the back seat. Then Ildo told Mr. Yeom that Dongju was doing hypnotherapy at Dr. Kang's house. Ildo was sure that Dongju could recover from his amnesia that way. Seeing Mr. Yeom, who seemed frustrated, Guho gave him an idea. Dongju lost his amnesia because of being shaken, and a similar shock might make his memory come back. Hearing that, Mr. Yeom thought it wasn't a completely bad idea. Dr. Kang heard Dongju's screams, and when she checked, it turned out that Dongju was downstairs with scared eyes. Dongju then went into the bathroom, while Dr. Kang got a call from Unnam. She will invite Dongju to meet his sister. Maybe after meeting his sister, Dongju's memory will come back. Unnam came to Dr. Kang and picks up Dongju to meet his sister, Sister Agnes. While in the car, Dongju sees a tattoo on Unnam's arm that is almost the same as his tattoo. Dongju then brings his hand and Unnam's hand closer, but he is still confused and does not remember the meaning of their tattoos. Finally they arrive, but Unnam has not been able to find Sister Agnes. It turned out that Sister Agnes just got out of the taxi and they see her who is about to cross. She calls Dongju and waves to Dongju. When the light is green, she starts to cross, but suddenly a truck hits her. At that time Unnam runs to see Sister Agnes, while Dongju is just silent and shocked. Then he begins to remember his childhood and also his past, with Unnam and the people who tried to kill him. Is that what Mr. Yeom, man who does not believe in hypnosis? He tries to restore Dongju's memory by giving Dongju a strong shock. By hitting his sister whom he loves very much.